and I'll never give up. You're my lost, you're my first, you're my good luck at my worst. You're my love, you're my pain. You see green when I see gray, but you're my bad, and I'm your good. There are words misunderstood, so move with me, move with me, with me, with me, with me.
Herbert is one of the working names of English electronic musician Matthew Herbert. He has also recorded under the names Dr. Rocket, Radio Boy, Mr. Vertigo, Transformer, Wish Mountain, Matthew Herbert, and Matthew Herbert's Big Band. He's also known for using sounds of everyday objects in his music. His first album was released in 1996 under the name Herbert. There have been 8 more under the name Herbert. Most recent was in 2021. He's also released 14 as Matthew Herbert, 3 as Dr. Rocket, 3 as Matthew Herbert's Big Band, and 2 as Radio Boy and 2 as Wish Mountain. He's also released a larger number of EPs than LPs, I believe. Hi, my name's Dan, and this album is the 5th album that was released under the name Herbert, and is my first listen to this album. I have reviewed one of his albums before, which was Around the House, which was the album that he released under the name Herbert previous to this one. And I would describe this as being a mix of electronic and jazz, and actually those two things, you'd think that they didn't they wouldn't go well together, because jazz is kind of the heart of jazz is all about live music and improvisation and people playing things, and the heart of electronic is all about somebody sitting at a computer and lining stuff up with in Pro Tools or Cubase or whatever they're using, and it's much more kind of programmed. But actually, there's been this mix of live instruments and electronic for a long time, and in particular, there was a realization, I think, fairly early on, that if you put a good voice on electronic music, it's got this it brings it to the next level, and particularly female voices, I think, in the wake of the Eurythmics, particularly, I would say, kind of pioneered that idea. So we've got Danny Siciliano singing on most of the tracks on this album, which she was in the other album that I reviewed. So let's get a bit more kind of into the description of what's here. We've got electronic beats and sample noises mixed with real elements, real instruments taken from a toolkit of jazz stuff. So particularly we've got piano, we've got double bass on at least one track, we've got clarinet and bass clarinet, we've got drums played with brushes, the kind of jazz style, and some other things as well. And it's got a rich and spacious feel to it. So it feels kind of electronic at heart. So you've got these beats going, and beats and grooves, and there's some nice grooves, I have to say. And it's the thing that I particularly like in electronic, is if they get a good groove going, and then kind of decorate that up with all sorts of other stuff. And there's lots of decoration going on here. Obviously, there's some unusual sounds, so I'm not quite sure where all the sounds have come from. The name of the album, obviously, is Bodily Functions. I do not know that they have come from Bodily Functions, certainly not all the sounds, because there's a lot of instrument sounds and things like pad sounds and electronic bass and other things. But there's definitely some here that have come from some interesting roots. The one that I recognised was teeth brushing. At one point, and I think that's kind of hitting on the cheeks to get us on a popping noise, but I've no idea, because I think there's a lot of processing going on to take whatever noises he's sampled that are connected to bodily functions, and I believe that he has, and to turn them into things that work in the music, but they aren't necessarily sounds you would necessarily associate with music. Which gives it this kind of interesting and slightly otherworldly feel to it. But then this is all kind of balanced out with some more human music, which is nicely done. Particularly, I like some of the piano playing on the album, and some of the kind of syncopated playing there reminded me of, I'm going to reference Moloko again, it's that kind of acid jazz kind of feel. that was what I was going to say with this electronica and jazz thing, that Sid Jazz came along and it was a great thing. So her voice, I would say, feels like a cross between. I'm going to reference a couple of people, Sade, and I can't remember the name of the girl from Moloko at the moment. Moloko definitely comes to mind quite a bit. It's gentle with a slight husk to it. It's kind of close mic singing. She's not blasting it out. She's definitely kind of bringing you in. It's a nice voice. I really enjoy her singing. So it's used really well, and it is definitely the icing on the cake. Is her singing here? I would say it would be good music without, but with her, it really elevates it to another level. So is the whole thing's got a laid back feel, which kind of goes with the gentleness of the singing. It fits the music. It's kind of it's beaty, but it's not urgent. It's kind of boppy at times, which is nice. The songs are kind of about not a huge amount. They're kind of fairly vague. There was some stuff that I could recognise what it was going on about, but it's not kind of earth shattering. It's not stuff that's going to make you think about the world in a different way. It's just an excuse for getting some music and getting some words out. Maybe I'm doing him a disservice, and I need to really, really listen to these words better. But I don't think that that's the focus here. So overall, I really enjoyed it. Actually, it's a good album. It's nicely put together. It's interesting. It's unusual in some ways, but it's very accessible and very listenable, I found. So I liked it quite a bit. And so it's got a score 8+, which are, albums that I really rate. So as always, I'd love to know what you think of this album. So please do tell me by leaving me a comment. And that's it from me for now.